Hi, this is Tessa Keogh, and if it's Tuesday, well, it's supposed to be time for a Tuesday's tip in the Legacy Virtual Users Group. A couple days ago, we got a great question from Ron Heroux. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Heroux. And he asked about finding any types of places. This could be a church, a cemetery, any type of building that you're looking for, maybe a repository even, because you're going to do research in a particular place. And I just wanted to quickly show you how that's done. If you go to your View tab and click on it and click on Master Lists, you can choose Address Lists and you have three choices. You might have put together a mailing list for people in your tree. You could have an event or a repository. Let's take a quick look at event. So we open this window, and as you can see, I have mine set up so that the map is there as well as the address. And we're just going to pick out a place. Cedar Bluff Cemetery. Now the first thing that happens when I put the first few letters in, of course, is that Legacy goes ahead, and if something's already in there, they fill in the rest of the information for you. Now Cedar Bluff Cemetery shows up, and I've listed the street address as well as the city, the state, the zip code, and then just because I'm the way I am, I include the countries. I have a lot of research that goes on in different countries, so I want to be sure that if anyone else is using any portion of my database, they know exactly what I'm talking about, whether that is a place in the United States, Canada, Ireland, Australia, any of that. So taking just a quick look, you want to give a little bit of thought to how you put together your master event address lists whenever you're adding address information, because you have the possibility to work with it afterwards. This is what I refer to as gold in, gold out, as opposed to that old garbage in, garbage out. We want to be going for the gold, not the garbage. So you see here that you have the place that you started to type in, and it's listed here as an event address, but you could also work here with all addresses, and that would include anything you're looking for. So your repository, event, and mailing addresses would all show up together. And you also have the ability, and we'll just go ahead and continue to use this with event addresses, and I've got my Cedar Bluff Cemetery again, that I have geocode on. That will also take a look and bring it up on the map. Now the one thing I'd take a look for anyone who's working with this is they're going to get close in Bing or Google or anything else that you use, but they might not be exactly right. Here we're lucky. The map actually shows Cedar Bluff Cemetery here. So you can see where it's located. You can get an idea in Rockford approximately where it is. The other thing that I would point out to you here is if you take a look at the address tab, and that's right over by the map, and I've chosen this color so it's a little dark for some of you. This lists the information as I've input it. So I have the address. I also have the phone number. If they had a website, I'd go ahead and add that, and if they had an email. Now I go back about every 6 months to a year on places that I'm using actively and update my information. Otherwise, I've kind of grabbed the information that's online. I also put in information about the cemetery the first time I used it. So this one reads, this is one of Rockford's oldest cemeteries, established on February 18th, 1847, and also known as Eastside Cemetery. It's located at the west end of Rural Street, bordering Longwood and Highway 251. Now, I've never been there, but I have this information to get me started, and I have the street address. So let's go ahead and take a look at anyone who's on the list, and that would be in our Show List tab. So these are all the individuals who use that event address, and I could go through on any of these people and I could edit directly from here. If we were to take a look at Anne Cannell, we could edit right here from this information, but I do know that that's where she's buried, and the information is taken from the burial address I put in. And as you can see, you can type in anything you want. I've gotten to the point now where after city I put a comma and I'm adding the county, just because this is one of those things you have to add yourself. In a perfect world, in a perfect world, Legacy would do this for us. And this, of course, is where my notes come in. This is the information that I typed in. I can run a spell check. I can also make this bigger. And if you do a lot of the type of research I do, I always have this tab over here that has special characters. I do a lot of Swedish and Norwegian research. And so I'm going to be using the spelling and the alphabet that they use. This is just one of those things to take a look at. There's a lot of special characters that you can add. So we have our address here. We save it. Also, if you had any media, you could add that. We know that it's Anne Canal here. We also know that we have a number of other individuals listed here. So if I wanted to print out the list, I could. If I wanted to create a search list from here, I could. If I wanted to work with tagging at all, I could also do that. And as I recall for tag number 8, this is Find a Grave information that I was working with. So once you have that information filled in, whether you continue to work with other tagging items, that's a whole nother story, and we'll get to that on another Tuesday. So you have that information. All you have to do is close here. You can scroll through any of the information you have here. You can also tag information that you have here and print that out as well. You have a number of options that you can work with, whether you want to combine duplicates, purge anything that's unused, and this is one I stay away from, because I tend to add addresses before I need them. If I know that I'm going to be working with cemeteries or repositories or any other locations, I'll add that information first so that it's all concise and that it is that I've checked it so that I know that I'm consistent. And so I don't ever purge anything unused, but you could. And this is also where I brought up before that if you have a file that you've worked with and you have all of your event information in there and your repository information, you might want to import that list, this is one of them, into a new file that you start working on. For instance, if you work with a specialized study, if you already have those addresses in there, you're going to be using them again. It's much easier to import that list into the new file and then take out whatever you don't need, as opposed to reinventing the wheel. So I just wanted to show you how this works. It's pretty easy. Now let's take a quick look at Find a Grave. If we had an address that we were using for that. And I think, for instance, if we were to select this one and edit it, what you'll see is that I've listed the website, but there's not really any street address. I might want to add notes about what's involved with Find a Grave, who they're affiliated with, how you can add information, but all of that could be taken from a website, copied and pasted into your notes section. So I hope that helps you and gets you started on working with your master event lists.